November in Georgia, and a mechanical gypsy tour of speed unfolds at Road Atlanta, the 1970 American Road Race of Champions. The official who's who of club racing is written in a single frenetic weekend. Over 400 pedigreed speed merchants race for a handful of glory.
Bring him on out, out on the track. Let's get him out of there. Let's go, man. Bring him on, bring him on. Bring him on out. Watch that car. Come on.
Only 21 champions are chosen from 2 days of blazing competition in a series of 30-minute sprints for a line of small print in a record book, for a fleeting electric moment called winning. 400 drivers versus Road Atlanta. 400 drivers versus themselves. 400 drivers versus 900 crooked miles. Crooked Miles is brought to you by Datsun, who recommend you drive a Datsun, then decide. "3 million miles of club racing, and this is where it all ends. The American Road Race of Champions. Only the track-tested blue bloods of the speed set make it here to Road Atlanta. Each of over 400 drivers has outrun all competition in one of the Sports Car Club of America's 7 geographic divisions. Long before his meticulously prepared ride rolls into action, each contender concentrates on a single objective: unlocking the mysteries of an impassive 2.6-mile strip of asphalt called Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta, an insistent challenge to sleek, pampered packages of speed, skillfully integrated alliances of human reflex and mechanical innovation.
You paint a picture in your mind of what that corner will look like when you see it. And many of the turns here, you're turning before you can actually see the turn. You're aiming for a spot that you can't see.
You don't really relax. You can't relax your mind. You might relax your body, but you've got to keep your mind on the turn ahead.
You keep worrying about what's over the next hill. You can't see what's there, so you just kind of worry about it a little bit.
But if you're not ahead of the car, you're in trouble.
I hate to use the cliche, it separates the men from the boys, but I think it would tend to do that.
In A production, Don Greenwood's flag-striped Corvette jumped to a quick lead over the immaculate fiberglass Flyers of Jerry Thompson, 12, and Tony DiLorenzo, number 11. Hobbled by minor engine problems, DiLorenzo dropped far off the early pace before the power failure worked itself out. Other members of the Big Iron fraternity had trouble taming Road Atlanta. In spite of smoggy oil spills like this one, Greenwood thrashed to a 6-second lead over Thompson, the defending national champion. Holding 600 uninhibited horses in the right groove at up to 175 miles an hour, locked into a tunnel of complete concentration. This is the far-out world of A production. Thompson unwound a new track record, averaging close to 101 miles an hour. But the upset victory went to the flashy flagship, driven by Michigan's Don Greenwood.
I went to sleep to dream last night I found both hands on the wheel. Drove this road 1,000 times last night. Oh, but this time it's all real. Each turn you need to thread the needle. Got to do it every time. If you miss, you'll find the nightmare out among the Georgia pines. 900 miles of bed road, no room for fear here in my mind. Just one way that I can make it through. And there's one dream at a time. And there's one dream at a time.
Bob Tullius, Bob Sharp, Jack Scoville, John Morton, Alan Johnson. C Production was loaded with former national champions as the proud factories of Porsche, Datsun, and Triumph pulled out all the stops. This was touted as the Weekend of Speed Super Race, as Bob Tullius, a four-time national champion, kicked off with a quick lead over John Morton's sleek Datsun Z car. Morton outpulled Tullius on the pit straight in lap 2 and eased ahead as the leaders fought over inches at 150 miles an hour. Bob Sharp pushed his maroon Datsun into second place as the Porsche pack couldn't seem to find the right combination. Lap 7, and Tullius ran into mechanical difficulties as Datsun set up for a clean sweep. Bob Sharp cut Morton's 8-second lead in half, but the final order of finish remained Morton, Sharp, and Kansas Flash John McCone. For some, happiness is a kiss in victory lane. For others, happiness is planning for next year.
It's a great car, as it just proved. It's a fabulous car.
And there are the three dots in the same order of finish coming down.
If there can be a single theme underlying the complex world of club racing, a kaleidoscopic realm cluttered with scattered engines and ornamental young ladies and the spirited male music of machines at speed, then that single theme would be competition. At 1970's Road Race of Champions, the dogfight in D Production was a spectacular example of how club racing has earned this kind of reputation. This was a duel in the Georgia sun of Road Atlanta, a gutsy, fender-thumping, flat-out run for daylight. The early leaders were Dan Parkinson's quick Datsun 2000, dogged by the Spitfire of two-time national champion Brian Fairstenau. Central Division champion John McComb was an early dropout, twisting off a drive shaft on lap 4. One lap later, and Firstenau parked his Spitfire as mechanical problems shelved 3 of the early leaders. This set the stage for a classic duel between Carl Swanson's Spitfire and Jim Fitzgerald's Maroon Datsun. With 5 laps to go, Swanson felt a rear wheel coming loose, but refused to back off an inch as both cars fought for the fastest line through Road Atlanta. The final few yards decided the race when Fitzgerald rammed past on the inside as Swanson fought to control a second-place car that had only 3 wheels. In one of the weekend's most spectacular finishes, the final margin was a combination of courage, determination, and that indefinable welcome kind of magic called luck.
I don't know. It's a pretty exciting thing for me. Those 3-wheel cars aren't too much fun to drive.
All things happened very rapidly. Carl was just doing a great job. He went in close and lost it. The rear end came around, and I couldn't slow up if I wanted to. So it was just forge ahead and beat him across the line. I guess it was pretty much luck.
Club racing is an infectious assortment of emotional highs and lows. It promises both the end of the rainbow and sometimes the end of everything. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, they come when speed calls. But why?
I'm a horrid bowler. I don't golf very well, but I can drive a race car, and I enjoy it. It's good relaxation, if you can believe it. And this is why I drive. It's fun.
I guess we all drive because we love to drive. There isn't any other reason, certainly not from a money standpoint.
You know what you've accomplished. If you win the race, they come around and hand you the checkered flag, and you get to kiss a dolly, and you really know you've won something.
There's nothing subtle about racing. If you've got the goods and you can do the job, it shows for everybody.
The competitive aspect of racing is, I think, what's the most important thing. Most of us have gigantic egos, and to satisfy those egos, we race.
When you can put it all together and come across first, stick your hand up and get the checker first, it's the most gratifying, rewarding thing I have ever done, and it's beautiful.
Formula V is the highest known form of mechanical beatlemania. John McAllister, number 1, broke on top as the pack buzzed around the undulating Road Atlanta roller coaster, with little margin between the first 10 mini rockets. Harry Engel, 34, the pole sitter in this race, showed the way into lap 5. McAllister, James Cox, 44, and Garrett Van Camp, 49, heading the first wave of pursuit. From almost every point of view, there's only one way to describe Formula Volkswagen racing. It's unreal. Powered by identical standard VW engines, they wind up to 120 mile-per-hour speeds and link up in clumps of fierce competition like strings of the fastest link sausage in the world. Pulling away from the field, the first 4 cars headed for home, locked in their individual duel. Winner Harry Engel describes the race's final moments.
The second place car usually can put himself in a winning position. I went on to the back straight on the very last lap in first, and I kind of slowed up as soon as I made a little run, and the other guys came blasting by. I picked the quicker one and jumped behind him, and the draft is the real ticket with these cars. I might have had 6 inches or a foot on him. I knew I was there then. It had to just go just a few more feet, and it was already screaming, so I knew he'd make it that far.
Engel over McAllister by 0.2 of a second. Just another everyday Formula V cliffhanger.
I had the right gears, the right car, everything was right, and I could get ahead at the end of the chute. And that's how I won. I about ran John off the road, but I had more stuff at the end.
The rockets of Formula A and A Sports Racing produce the weekend's top speeds. Last year's heavyweight sports racing king, Jerry Hansen, qualified for both high-speed tours. Hansen was heavily favored to win a 4th consecutive crown at the wheel of bright orange number 44, Peter Revson's Can-Am car. Oscar Kowaleski brought his own Can-Am rocket, a McLaren number 54, and pushed Hansen to the limit. Averaging over 105 miles per hour, this shootout wasn't decided until the final turn. 1970's heavyweight speed king by 1/10 of a second, Oscar Kowaleski. Patience was the key to the Formula A blastoff, with Jerry Hansen again playing a major role. Kurt Rhino blew past top qualifier Gerald Rainey, number 99, through the S's and into turn 6 on the first lap. Hansen, 44, slammed the door a lap later, charging from 5th on the grid into 2nd place. The Hansen-Rhino dogfight lapped Road Atlanta at speeds averaging over 108 miles an hour. Hansen finally thrashed into first place on the back straight. Meanwhile, Florida's Dave Hines waited for something to give. Fighting for the line into turn 6, the leaders tangled. Rhino's car an instant wreck, and Hansen in trouble. Hines, running smoothly, roared into the lead as Hansen limped into the pits. '70's new Formula A champion, Dave Hines, in, would you believe, number 57. The big brothers of Formula Volkswagen are the single-seated midi rockets of Formula Ford and Formula Super V, capable of top ends close to 150 miles an hour. John Zeitler, 21, led the early going, tailgated by Bob Lazier and Bill Scott in 36 and 39, respectively. By the fourth lap, New Jersey's Tom Davey, number 3, had come from 8th on the grid to first place. Powered by Ford Cortina or 1600cc Volkswagen engines, this relatively new slot in club racing grew out of the great success of Formula V. Inches off the track surface, with the competition a mechanical Siamese twin in the rearview mirror, towed in your vacuum, and ready to slingshot past at the right moment. Hanging on by a few feet, Davey fought off the challenge of Formula 4 jockey Skip Barber and continued his front-running strategy. Harry Engel, number 34, the Formula V king, made his move for a double win a lap later. A lap to go, and Davey outgunned all opposition down the pit straight and headed for victory lane, a winner in his rookie year at the Road Race of Champions. Over 400 drivers come to Challenge Road Atlanta, but few enter that charm circle called winning.
I don't know, I just kept passing people in the beginning and the car kept going faster and faster and I just held on, you know.
The Speed King Spectacular was completed in a stunning rush of mechanical magic. It took over 44,000 miles of practice and qualifying to pick the winners. It took 11 new track records. It took 900 crooked miles.
I went to sleep to dream last night, and I found both hands on the wheel. Drove this road 1,000 times last night, oh, but this time it's all real. Each turn you need to thread the needle. Got to do it every time. If you miss, you'll find the nightmare out among the Georgia pines. 900 miles of dead road, no room for fear in my mind. Just one way that I can make it through. And there's one dream at a time. And there's one dream at a time.
900 Crooked Miles was brought to you by Datsun, who recommend you drive a Datsun, then decide.